Viewer discretion is advised.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Another fine day, although, Grem, it has been raining, hasn't it? Although it's still hot.
It has been a bit of a miserable afternoon, hasn't it, Ben?
Yes, I'd say so. But the thing is, it's still hot, and that's it, isn't it? I think many of us want a nice, good shower just to clear the air and to get us back to some sort of nice little habitat again. Makes it sound like reptiles, Grem, doesn't it?
I totally agree, mate. It's a bit stuffy out there, so not many of us will be getting a decent night's sleep again tonight.
No. We've got, as like always, Grem, haven't we? A number of different things we want to talk about this evening. And before we do, we're just going to have a little bit of a chit-chat, aren't we, Grem? Because I've got a few things just on my mind I think I want to get off my chest. And so surely the viewers might be able to help me with this. Maybe it's just one of those things, like pet hates, Grem. Parking, all right? Now, we all own a car, right? Many of us, don't we, Grem? And
yes.
We all
Parking is a nightmare, isn't it, mate? Parking in my street, everybody. If you're not back by 6:30 in the evening, you end up parking sometimes like a mile away, and I'm not joking. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Graham, it's like, we all pay our road tax, and so that gives us all the right to park wherever we like. We get it, okay? We get that, right? But why is it? I mean, with that, okay, you park up, right? And you want to park somewhere within sort of longitude, latitude, some sort of area of your house, okay, without being too drastically far away. And yet you find, when you look down your street, you see all these vehicles, work vehicles, I add, and you think, God, why can't they just leave them at work? Sure, you own a vehicle. Why have your vehicle at home and your work vehicle? Sorry, guys, just a pet hate. No offence.
No, I support you on that, mate. I'm telling you. I mean, the amount of work vehicles I have parked in my street sometimes, I mean, they take up like a car and a half space, if not two.
Yeah.
And it's very, very frustrating. And then you get a neighbour that decides that they want to do a bit of garden work or moving a wall about or knocking a wall out, and then you end up with a massive skip taking up a whole space.
Exactly.
It's frustrating. It really is.
Yeah, exactly. But Graham, the annoying thing is, with that is, okay, fine, okay, I get it, okay. If you own a van, I say you own a van, you have a van, which just happens to be a work van, okay, and it's a company van, fine, right? There is no reason why I suppose you cannot just leave that at work. Okay, I suppose you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have to use the fuel then, I can just put it on the company credit card, I get it. So you're trying to save some money, I suppose, cut some corners, but it's just really, really frustrating. If it's your own van, however, and it's a private company, like you're a local business or something, then I suppose you could argue, well, actually, where else are you going to park? It's your van, it's your property, but it's just so frustrating.
Very true.
But Graham, it's like...
It is.
Isn't it? I mean, everybody, doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what you believe in, I think everybody who owns a vehicle gets upset. They just want to park somewhere within their residency, and of course you find, you've got all these different vehicles, half of which don't belong to the area, and you can't understand sometimes why that is, and it's so frustrating. And then you get the other thing, don't you, Graham, where you've, just a bit of a rant now, guys, but you get this other thing, don't you, where like you see your neighbours park, but they park in like two spaces, and you think, how...
Oh, don't go there. I mean, you get a little car, like a smaller than the Mini, the old style Mini, and the way they park, and you're thinking,
it's just unbelievable. It's just really unbelievable, isn't it? And Graham, it's not just parking that gets you either, is it? It's It's just parking in general. You know, it's parking, not just parking itself like at home, but it's also parking in public areas. You know, you find, you know, it's so expensive. You know, you're constantly clock watching because you can't go out freely. You can't drop your car somewhere and put money into the local economy by going to local shops, because you've got to constantly be panicking about just how much time you've got. It's really prehistoric. We need a new system, don't we? We need. I know, you know, like, I think what we need, Graham, is we need a system where, you know, like if you go to hospital, all right, and or you get taken to hospital by somebody who has a car, and you basically park in a car park, you pay when you leave. That's how I think parking should be done. So therefore, there's no stress. Do you know what I mean? You can just park up, you can just do whatever you've got to do, be as long as you need to be, and then when you're finished, you just, I don't know, you put your card in the machine and away you go. You pay whatever's due. You know, I think that's got to be a better system, right, than having 2 hours only or buying only an hour, because actually you might get held up. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, mate. I mean, in my street, for example, there's 4 terrace houses, and you've got the 2 on the corner that go onto the main ring road. So, and then 2 at the top. Well, obviously the top of the hill, people. And so therefore you should be able to get a car space, but you can't. As I said earlier, you get back by after 6 o'clock in the evening, and you're left with trying to locate a spot elsewhere. And it's I mean, if it's a nice evening like summertime, it's not a problem. But if it's peeing it down with rain, or if it's icy, you know, windy, I mean, you just don't want to be walking too much.
I get it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Graham, we were to have our guest this evening coming back, we should add. We had a few technical issues with our internet, didn't we, Graham, last week? And so we planned that we would come back again tonight, Wednesday evening, with our very good guest, Ian. Unfortunately, Ian is busy this evening. It has become a last-minute thing, so we've had to reschedule, and we will get Ian back, absolutely, because he was a great guest of ours, wasn't he, Graham? And he had so much to talk about, and we were not able at the time to finish. So we will get him back in due course. That does leave us, Graham, with our normal sort of show, doesn't it? Without a guest this evening. However, never is that a problem, because we've got you guys, we've got the viewers. So thank you.
No,
of course,
not at all.
Absolutely, Graham. So how's your day been? What have you been up to?
Well, been quite busy today, and a certain person was with me, and we've been to the studio, everybody, and we've been putting down something, haven't we?
We have. We have indeed.
Is it still top secret?
I think it still is, isn't it, Graham? I think we can't say too much just as of yet. But having said that, we aren't far away.
Yes, No, possibly this weekend or next, everybody.
Yeah.
Yet again, it all depends on production side with this other organisation that we're working alongside.
Yes. It certainly does. Well, yeah, I mean, we are in the process, aren't we? We've done all that we need to do now, I think. We've got material now. We've been to the studio, haven't we, Graham, quite a few times now. So I think it's fair to say that we are now on the brink of being able to put out our first week's cluster of episodes, you know, and of course there's just other things to go with that, which we don't want to give away just yet, because we want it to be a nice surprise. But we are pretty much there, Graham, aren't we? I think it's fair to say. Yeah. Yes,
I believe we're getting there. Ben, I'm learning every day. Ben's learning every day. You know, we will achieve this, and it's going to look good.
Well, we can only hope. We hope and pray for success.
But whilst we're on this subject, I'll let you tell them about this, Ben. Ben was having a little bit of a laugh and a joke earlier with, was it Instagram? Was it put it up on Instagram? Or yes, it was Instagram, wasn't it, mate? And well, we've actually placed up a couple.
It was Snapchat as well, guys. Snapchat and Facebook.
Yeah. Yes. So please go and check our page. It's quite funny. What us two get up to, you know, at break time and at the studio is you're thinking that we're on another planet, and I would say you're possibly right. What do you reckon, mate?
I don't know. All I'll say, Graham, is that the rest I had certainly was rather satisfying. Until, of course, you woke me up.
Oh, God. Yeah. Everyone needs a little bit of help, don't they, mate?
Indeed. Indeed, they do. I mean, well, I mean, do we? I don't know. What's considered need of help? I mean, you know, one man's madness is another man's fun, I suppose. I don't know. Don't know how you look at it, really.
Well, I don't know how people are going to take that comment. Actually,
no, neither do I. But no, it was.
Let's
good.
sort of rewind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should. Thanks, Graham, for putting me in. I think it's fair, though, isn't it, to say that we did have a good time, and we did, didn't we? We did get some stuff together, and I don't know about you, Graham, but I am extremely excited about just what's coming ahead of us with the Ben and Grem shows.
No, so am I. It's very daunting for me. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Have I just given something away?
Small talk. Well, we can talk small talk. Everyone talks small talk at some point in their day.
Yes.
I suppose, in a way, we're talking small talk now.
We are. We're just having a chat, aren't we, Graham? I mean, this is what it's about, isn't it? We want to enlighten your experience of an evening television, because sometimes it's dreary. So we think, actually, by having Ben and Graham with you, couldn't be better, could it? The point is, it wouldn't. We've said this before, and we'll say it again, and we'll keep on saying it, because the Ben and Grem Show will never be the Ben and Grem Show without you, the viewers, because it's the viewers that make it what it is, right? And speaking of which, Graham, we do have our first viewer. I say first viewer. We've got many viewers. But our first viewer who's commented, Graham, I should add. And he has said...
Lee, thank you.
Lee says he has to say we look rather sharp this evening. Got confused when he found you on YouTube?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, Lee, actually...
Yes, we...
Graham, sorry, please. After you.
Yes. Can I talk? Is it all right to talk? we need someone to usher us in each, like your turn, my turn. We're getting used to everybody, okay? We we're just, with everything going on today, it's been extremely busy. I've now lost my train of thought. Yes, the picture quality is 100,000 times better than what it was before. The microphone, the sound on my part is still coming from my main system, as I do have an issue with the mic for some reason via the camera. But hopefully that'll be rectified by the end of the show for the next viewing.
If it's any consolation to you, Graham, I think you sound rather good.
Thank you, mate. So do you. And I would also like to say that your quality as well, and it's brilliant as well to view. And the Ben and Grem Show definitely would not be the Ben and Grem Show without Ben. Ben does an awful lot for the show, and it's really much appreciated. Puts up with me, and I can be a bit of a nightmare. So,
well, at the end of the day, Graham, it takes two. In fact, it actually takes more than two. There's a lot more of us behind the scenes, as you know. We just have to sit in front of the camera. It's the rest that does all the hard work, I think. But no, anyhow, we don't want to sit here waffling away.
No, exactly.
We have got stuff to discuss, haven't we? And I'm quite happy to throw us into our first topic. Or would you like to start, Graham? I mean, this is completely open. I don't mind. It's up to you. I mean, what do you want? What do you want to do? What should we do, folks? What's the viewers up to? What do they want to do? What do they want to talk about?
Yeah, what should we do? Can I need to itch my nose?
Right. Okay. So in that case,
right, that's that done.
Well, that's fine because you can just come and see me for a bit. I am going to pick up on a point though, because Lee did say about YouTube, and I hadn't spoken of that just yet, Graham. So I want to just mention about YouTube. YouTube is a new platform, isn't it, Graham? We're going with the YouTube for the moment. We're going to see how that works, because many of you that have been watching the show, and thank you, and can't thank you enough, will have identified a number of different issues over the course of the last few weeks. To the last few months, actually. I think it's been an issue from the very word go, here and there. And what do I mean by that? Well,
yes, it has been. It's been.
Hasn't it? Well, issues internet, isn't it, mainly?
Yeah, it's been awful, mate. It really has.
It has. And so I think we're going to give it a go. And I apologise to any of the viewers that hasn't got YouTube or can't access YouTube. I know we had, I believe, do you remember, Grem, we had Elaine Slade a few weeks ago say that she doesn't have the access of YouTube, which is frustrating for her, sure, and us also. And so we want to be very cross-platform for everybody. But let's just say, YouTube should improve, I think, your viewing experience at the very least. And I think it's going to hopefully be better on our end as well. And so far, so good. Everything looks good. So I'm happy. As long as that's happy, you're happy. Nobody wants a broken stream, Graham, do they? A bursted bank.
Exactly. We're doing all that we can do to give you the viewing pleasure that you all deserve. I mean, you've got to look at our ugly mugs. So we're doing our best. So I hope you enjoy the show, the rest of the show.
Yes,
but we were moving on to points, weren't we?
We were, and we will. And I just want to say, and it's still on the YouTube subject. I want to just say, Lee, thank you for finding us. And I do worry because, of course, we didn't put out an announcement about the fact we were going to YouTube this weekend, or should we say this week. Although we have been in discussion, me and Grem and the team, about maybe doing things slightly differently, just to see how we go forward. So I apologise to any of the viewers that will be seeing this, but maybe not seeing this live. So let's just say, for your sake, please keep an eye on the Ben&Grem Show YouTube channel, because the Ben&Grem Show YouTube channel now is going to be predominantly where the videos are going to be seen. That's not just live, but also when you can watch them back. We will be using still the Ben&Grem Show Facebook page, won't we, Grem? Where again you can see the archive of videos. But ultimately, if you want the live streams,
to feed the it'll work out better as well for the viewing quality, because we've had, as Ben said, nothing but issues with
indeed
the Facebook side of things. So we need to try we do need to try this so we can move forward.
We do indeed. And so apologies to anybody that isn't able to watch the stream, but regardless to that, let's get going, Graham. So topic number uno.
Uno. Okay. Topic uno is in regards to 300 workers at a sandwich factory in Northampton. They were all tested for coronavirus due to a high peak in the local community. The local community figure hit 79. So the management of the company decided to do the right thing and tested all of their employees and, of course, themselves. From that figure, the percentage of people that work at the company came to 213 affected. They were immediately placed on their own lockdown in their home for 2 weeks. So we spoke about this earlier, didn't we, Ben, just over the phone? And the concerns that we thought of was for the company's well-being. You mentioned about the situation, brought it up. So would you like to comment further on that?
Well, thank you, Graham. I certainly will. It is a concern. And coronavirus, again, is a dominating factor of all of our lives, whether it's work, play, or anything you want to be doing in your time at this time. But with work in particular, it is a concern. And why is it a concern? And you did touch on it, Graham. There's companies that are really struggling at the moment. And also, Graham, to add to that story, we talk about the fact that the company in question makes sandwiches, don't we? Now, one guy took to Twitter, actually, on the very subject.
Yes.
And as much as it not being a joke, I want to add, he actually said that they were actually on a roll, Graham. And the thought to have to wrap things up.
Yeah.
So I know it's not time for jokes because it's a serious matter, isn't it, Graham? But the thing is,
well, I mean, with everything going on, you need to have a little bit of a smile, and it's not a bad joke as such, is it? Well, it is but not.
Well, as long as some can laugh. I mean, not everybody will laugh at these jokes, but you can't have everything. can't always be funny. But the point is with Grem, with this subject, is we're talking about this
Exactly.
in Northampton. And please, thank you for pulling me back here, because and I saw the little nod there just to push me in the right direction. But they actually make sandwiches for Marks and Spencer's. Now, Marks and Spencer's, huge business.
Yes, I do.
However, Grem, we've actually now come to understand that they are looking to axe 7,500 workers from their industry, again, because of the COVID-19 and financial adjustments. Because of the current climate, retailers are having to adjust. Now, that is extremely scary. When you talk of a chain like Marks and Spencer's, that is a very worrying thing. And I think it's fair to say...
It certainly is, mate. It certainly is. I mean, the workforce, is it going to be mainly the factory side of things, warehouses that stock the non-perishable stuff? Is what going to close, or is some of those stuff going, or are they actually closing down some stores? Because we've got quite a large food store, Marks and Spencer's in Dover, haven't we?
We have.
And it hasn't been open very long, and it's not very busy. I've never seen many people go in there.
Well, Graham, can I just say,
I don't know about you, mate.
On the subjects of sandwiches, though, I mean, I think another concern you could ask yourself on the subject is that, or at least want to talk about here, is that they're making sandwiches. So these 300 odd workers are making sandwiches for Marks and Spencer's. Presumably that's not just the only company they're making sandwiches for. Maybe you got these people that will come up to the very doors and buy them directly. I don't know. But let's just say, for example, they're making these sandwiches. Now, they would have been making them at a time where they were probably unsure that they had symptoms. Now, the fear I'm coming to here, Graham, and you talked to me about this, and I want you to pick up on this, is the food, Graham. What happens with the food and the worries around the food?
Well, yes, the food at that point, before they actually realised that anyone had become affected by the pandemic, would have been in the food chain. It would have been in the shops. But as soon as they've obviously found out in regards to who has been affected, then the food would have been removed from where it is, and possibly previous orders would have been traced back, and they would have been removed from the shelves within Marks and Spencer's. So safeguards are put in there. But the company have acted extremely quick on this. As soon as the results came back, they placed their staff on leave immediately, the ones that were affected, and introduced stringent measures to protect the rest of the staff. So that was put in place, and they're also in contact and regular contact with the County Council of Northamptonshire and the local borough council as well. Both councils have stated that they are very pleased with the progress and the operations of the company. So that's all positive for them because they've acted extremely well. I mean, what do you make of that, Ben?
What do I make of that? Now, that's a good question, because I basically feel very much like you, Graham. I feel that there has to be something made on this. You have to worry that these people are not just only going to suffer from the virus itself, but also going to contract other people without them knowing, because of the ingestion of this food, particularly. But Graham, we have another viewer who just mentioned in, and it's Shooting Bucks. I think I know who that is. I think his name is Andy, and correct me if I'm wrong. But
hello, Andy.
He says hello.
You?
We, the production studio, have said to you guys on the stream, favourite sandwiches, guys. I don't know if anybody wants to pick up on that. Sandwiches.
Yeah.
What's your favourite, Graham?
My favourite? Probably, it's a bit boring really, it's probably the most strongest cheddar you can get with pickle and a bit of lettuce or some sort of salad. But I do like cucumber sandwiches with just a little dashing of salt. Very boring, me. What about you, mate?
Well, apart from not liking to eat around others when eating the particular type of sandwich, I do actually like egg sandwiches, but they are smelly.
Oh
to
my
decompress.
God, no.
Yeah. I do
I
like
tell you,
decompressing.
no, look, if any of your mates are watching now, please, if you see Ben anywhere near a boiled egg or even an egg sandwich of some kind, and even pasta, for example, just steer him well clear. Because I've been sat in a car with him miles from Dover on the way back from quite a major conference, and he let one go. Oh my gosh. It was the most disgusting smell I've ever smelled in my life. It wasn't nice.
It wasn't
And do
pleasant.
you know, Ben, tell the viewers what you blamed it on.
Really? All right, guys. Yeah, okay. Why not?
Yeah.
I'll bring it up as we're on the subject. Well, basically, yeah, we're driving back from where were we driving back? Torquay. We were on the way to Torquay. We went to a conference, didn't we?
Yeah,
And we're on the way
we
back.
did. We went to.
UK Independence Party conference, wasn't it? When we were in politics, and on the way back in the car, yeah, it was a warm evening, a bit like we're facing now, and I had a bit of a stomachache actually, and I had been suffering throughout the day, and obviously, being so far away from home, it's not pleasant, and I didn't even know I had done this deed in the car, and.
Are you sure? Because it was all. You were chatting away. Because anyone that knows Ben, it's chatter, 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 and it seems like it was all sort of like quiet for like a split second, and he must have realised what had happened, and he just sat there like with a straight face, and just waiting for my reaction. And we also had a guest in the back of the car.
A female guest.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Ben,
So I'll get back to the point.
get
Yeah.
back.
So
Go
basically,
on.
yeah.
What
okay,
did you
Graham.
blame it on?
Well, I said it was the fields. I mean, the window was
Yeah.
open, and we were in Torquay, and there's a lot of fields in Torquay.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What month was it, Ben?
I can't even remember. I think it was it January? No, I don't know. I can't remember. Can you remember? It was late in the year, wasn't it? I think it was not far away from Christmas.
Was it October? I think it was October.
I think it might have been.
Sure, it was October. I have to double check on that and get back to everybody.
Yeah.
Sure it was. But farmers do not muck their fields at that time of year.
No, they don't.
Do they, Ben?
Yeah, well, anyway, the guest behind us in the car, she agreed and said, yeah, it's the fields. I think she felt a little bit sorry for me.
No, she actually believed it, didn't she?
I don't know. I don't know whether she did or not. I just think she was probably a bit embarrassed, actually, and probably thought, yeah, I'll go with that. I think it saved us all.
And then shortly after, we stopped off at the Little Chef. Was the Little Chef, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
We stopped there.
Yes.
He filled his body with more food, obviously to fuel up the windpipes and
The thing was,
to get ready to let rip again.
yeah. Well, the thing was, I don't know what it is or was, but guys, I mean, okay, while we're on the subject, and I'm just going to be honest about this, right? I at that time, for some reason or other, and I don't know why these things come about, ailments, aren't they? People have these little things go on every now and again, and I was suffering from IBS, which I don't usually suffer with at that time, and I remember in Torquay, and it actually looked like something, Graham, didn't it? Out of the 42 Towers, the actual hotel, and funnily enough, it was in Torquay, the 42 Towers.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah. The entrance to it as well.
Yeah, and Manuel came down. No, he didn't. Yeah, Manuel had nothing to do with it. We came downstairs in the morning for a nice fry up, and that it was too, wasn't it? But that was all we had. And if you think about it, we were there at the conference all the day, weren't we? And it was not until the evening when we decided to wrap up and obviously come home. And then we said, yeah, we'll get some food on the way back. But I hadn't eaten, and my stomach was going crazy. And I don't know, maybe it was just like stomach gases and stuff. And obviously I had a bit of IBS at the time as well. It was a number of things all in collective. But yeah, I think her name's Sylvia, the lady in the back of the car, which I know Lee knows, and I'll come back to Lee in a minute because he just put a couple of things up. He knows Sylvia. Sylvia was probably trying to excuse the difficulty of embarrassment. Difficulties.
Yeah.
But Lee says we're a fool, or I'm a fool at least, and I'll give you that, Lee. He says he was there last day of September. It was, he says, and so must have returned first week of October. That now sounds about right.
Yes.
Graham, you said October, didn't you?
Yeah. It was. Was it a 2-day conference? Wasn't it?
It was.
2-day.
It was. Well, actually, it was a very important conference, wasn't it? Because why did we go down there?
Yes, it was. Yes. Well, we went down there to see who the new leader was going to be.
I think we knew who it was going to be there, didn't we?
Oh, yes, we knew who it was going to be, but certain people did not want that to be, and it didn't last too long, did it? But that's a long story to go into.
Well, anyway, just for your information, guys, it was the UKIP conference down in Devon, Torquay. Devon, Torquay? Yeah, same sort of area. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Henry Bolton was elected leader of the UK Independence Party, and rightly so that he was. Come up against some stiff opposition, but I think given the characters of those standing at that given time, Henry was above the rest, I think it was fair to say. So I think it was a win-win.
Oh, most definitely, with the experience that he could bring to the table, the plans that he had for the direction of the party, because it was in fear of moving further right, wasn't it?
Well, it's sad,
especially
isn't it?
if
Graham, it was.
It is sad,
it was because his idea, and in fact his motivation, was to transform a party that was disappearing into the wilderness. You know, it was a party that was losing its focus and losing its understanding and financial impetus and public interest, and so it was a matter of trying to steer the ship in another direction, which sadly those behind the scenes, as we know, and up till now to the day happen to still be there, sadly, are still tugging in directions that nobody seems to want to go in, although some will always stick around, you know, and that's the thing, isn't it? Some people will through
UKIP basically would, as you know, it's a Nigel Farage sort of set up party. Everyone knows that. And you've got the Brexit Party now with Nigel, who is supposedly the leader of the party, but who's actually pulling the strings. But they don't actually have a proper direction. Both parties don't have a direction. They don't have any solutions. No. Now, Henry at the time had solutions, but they were not being listened to. So come February the following year, it was all change, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, after all, if you go into a business, let's be honest about this, right? If you look at it from another point of view, from an outsider's point of view, right? So if you're coming into any business and you want to change what happens top down, naturally you're going to roll a few heads, and naturally you're going to upset a few people. And I think that was the intention. It was needed. And sadly, those that cottoned onto that very quickly used everything in their powers to block. And yeah, sadly, as we know it, Henry was removed from the party.
Exactly. I mean, you need to move the bad eggs.
Well, to them,
but
I think, quite honestly, I think in the grand scheme of things, he was probably the best thing that could have happened to them. I mean, but look at them now.
No, I mean, you need to basically remove bad eggs.
Of course you do. Yes,
from the area, from the area discussion, because they will do nothing. They will do nothing but negativity to the cause. And the whole point was to make the organisation run more effectively.
Yeah. But Henry, as what I'm saying, he would have been considered, wouldn't he, a bad egg to those behind the scenes within the party's managerial field. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, anyway, we want to move on from that because actually there's a very, very important point here from Andy. Now, Shooting Bucks, not only has he said hello and nice to see you and hello, Andy, for joining us. Thank you for joining us. He also says his
thank you, Andy.
Favourite sandwich, Graham, is lamb sandwich. A lamb sandwich. That's
lamb.
Nice.
Is that like a minted lamb sandwich, or is it just with a bit of pepper?
That's a good question. Minted sandwich. That's nice. Well, that'd be nice, actually. Mint sauce and lamb sandwich. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, just to also add, thank you, Andy, for that. Definitely on the menu, that. He also says, oh, excuse me, sir, he says, Andy. He says, are you Ben Stokes in disguise? Funny you say that, Andy. Now, Andy knows me from work, and actually Andy picked up on something I put out recently. I think it was actually on social media. It's not been the first time, and I'm sure it might not be the last, all the while I look like I do, and people don't change that basically. According to some people, the public members, I look like Ben Stokes. Now, who's Ben Stokes, Graham?
I'm going to have to Google it. I don't know who Ben Stokes is.
Come on, you must know who he is. If you don't know, he's a cricket player. He's a cricket player. He's England cricket player. He's fantastic.
Well, I should know. I should know because it's really the sport that I'm more keen on. So, and I don't know.
He's not just a hero, Graham, because he looks like me.
Oh God.
No, that should be the other way around.
Oh, Ben does love himself. Does love himself. Does love Ben.
I don't even think
but you know, without Ben, you know, this show wouldn't be. And I've said it at the beginning, but it's true.
What's he talking about? Don't know what he's
and he
about.
knows that. You know it.
Lee Lee says Nigel only ever had one objective. I think I know where he's going with this. He says, and that was to leave the EU, the European Union, ladies and gentlemen. He will challenge specific topics, but is not a political leader. No. And
he doesn't give the solution, does he, that comes with it? The different things that will happen in leaving a block that you've been involved with for 43, 44 years. You know, you need to have those solutions already in discussion before you even implement the chance of a referendum. But, you know, that's our Nigel, isn't it? It's how he works.
Well, he's a good lad, Nigel. He's a good one. But I think, yes, you're right. I think what Nigel is very good at, you could say, is he's good at rallying people together. He's good at getting out a message. He's good at getting people buzzed for a situation, bad or good. And he's able to bring people together. And that's why he's extremely important in the world of politics. Although he's not a politician anymore, although he might be seen by some as being a politician, given that he's the Brexit Party leader. However, he's somebody I think that would not see himself as a politician so much. He's just somebody who likes to pick on these issues, bring them out into focus, and hopefully have people like the government, for example, do the right thing about it, about them, whatever the situation or subject may be. But yeah, he does, doesn't he, not necessarily have the solutions, I think it's fair to say. But with the help of other people around him and the right contacts, there's no reason for why his help in his knowledge can't aid a solution to any situation. You know what I mean? It's just that people need to work together.
Yes, but he has. Ben, you know yourself, he's got to have advisors around him.
Of course. But
it will probably be the advisors that he chooses. And people that will bow down to him. And, you know, he's that sort of leader, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, we know he's very hot.
He's not going to want somebody, is he? He's not going to want somebody that's going to be against him.
No. Well, we know he's very hot on the topic at the moment, isn't he, about the migrants that we have the situation of, well, around the UK.
Yes.
Particularly that of the Dover-Calais Straits. Yeah, and of course with that, he's certainly bringing that out to focus to the front of the page, isn't he? He's really getting the government to stand up on that. And we also understand, don't we, Graham, that we've had the issue in the press recently about how Priti Patel, which is the Home Secretary, she has found that migrants have been put by error, have been put up in hotels within her constituency, which has been noted
by error.
So,
by error.
Say again?
By error.
By error.
Absolutely. By error. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, we believe that. But
well,
yeah, okay, by
the
error.
Home Office have apologised to the government and said it shouldn't have happened. But regardless of where they are, or whose constituency they're in, does that really matter? I think the issue.
No, exactly. It can be in anyone's area, couldn't it?
The issue started way before that. Do you know what I mean, Graham? Let's not talk. See, this is what I find with politicians, Graham. Let me just say this, if you don't mind. I just want to add, you know, whenever there is a problem in politics or there's a problem with something to do with politics, they always go for the man and not the ball. You know what I mean? They always go for a subject within the subject and pick on it. And you think, but actually, what's it got to do with that? You know, look at the beginning and then work your way through. Well, why has that happened? You know, how do we fix that problem? What's the solution to this problem? You know, and they don't do that. And it's a very controversial subject. And we find ourselves talking about where they're getting put, these people. That's not what we should be talking about. You know what I mean? We should be talking about why they're coming in the first place. We should be talking about how we can stop them from coming, to the point by which we can help them to build lives back in their own hometowns and cities, and give them the tools to live a better life. You know, this is what we should be talking about, not talking about where we need to put them. It's madness. It's madness. But that's just my view, Graham. And you know, we've all got different opinions on it. But Nigel is our point here, isn't it? And that he is talking about the subject very deeply. And if it wasn't for him at this point in time on the subject, then people wouldn't know what they do. And this is the truth of it. And this is why you need people.
Exactly. We would only know the small part of the picture, wouldn't we? We wouldn't know the bigger picture. And the bigger picture has been...
Hasn't he, Graham?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been
yes,
down
Henry
there.
Bolton's been down there, and he's been down there, and we've seen him down there.
Yeah. He's got some
he's, you know, he's been down there and he's seen it happen. He spoke with people. He's interviewed people. You know, it's just shocking that this was all like brushed under the carpet, and it was only little drip bits getting out every now and then. It's just disgusting that people's lives are at risk here, and no one seemed to be bothered about it. No one within government seemed to care about these, you know, these lives coming over in an unsafe way.
Indeed.
Touchy subject.
It is, and yeah, Graham, you couldn't be far from the truth, really. It is a touchy subject, but it's a subject that needs addressing and not pushing under the carpet anymore. But it's been noted, hasn't it? It's understood that there are too many agencies working on this problem, and the half of which, it would seem, are not communicating properly with one another, and all have different roles within the progresses of the situation. You know, there needs to be an overarching organisation that will deal with this or take this on and have a specific role. Like, for example, Graham, what we do understand to know is the RNLI, the lifeboat service. Now, they shouldn't be being utilised for this sort of stuff. This is not what they're there for. You know,
but they are, aren't they? They are. They've been called out how many times? I mean, the thing is, we don't really have the figure of the times that they've been called out. But you know, it's unacceptable. The whole situation shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't be happening.
No, couldn't agree with you anymore, Graham. Well, thank you, Graham, for picking up on those points, and thank you to the viewers for contributing too. We will be coming to our next topic on the subject of topics. And Graham, PC Andrew Harper. Now, it's not a news story. We've heard about this before. I mean, Graham, do you want to talk about what happened? It was quite horrific.
I will do so briefly because it was horrific. I don't believe PC Harper was actually married very long as well at that point. I think it's just a few weeks, wasn't it, Ben?
Yes.
Sure, as it has. And he was coming towards the end of his shift, in fact. And he was on his own and was called out to go and investigate a robbery in progress. And I'm quite shocked the reason why he did go out on his own. Maybe he decided to, just to take a look. But he was driving down a country road, wasn't he? And he actually came head on with the thieves that had stolen a vehicle. And he tried to apprehend them, and ended up being dragged along the road for miles, and he died of his injuries. It's extremely sad.
And it kind of it begs the question, doesn't it, Graham? What do we do? You know, what do the police do? You know, because they're getting a lot of flack, aren't they, in the media at the moment about whether it's you know, BLM or how should we say they deal with how they police. You know, they're getting pushed under close scrutiny, and you've got to ask yourself, is that fair? They're there to protect and serve. And you know, when it comes to things like this, they should be able to use force as and where necessary. I mean, ultimately, and I've never understood this, Graham, but if you're somebody who is seen to be a bit of a tearaway, somebody who is seen under the spotlight of an issue or two quite regularly, or known well by the police, you know, you've got to ask yourself, it's only going to be a matter of time, isn't it, Graham, before, you know, something's going to go bad for you. And I'm not condoning bad things happening to people, of course, but of course you are playing with fire, as the saying goes. You know, you upset the police, it's not going to go well for you. You know, so I think we've got to give more credit to the police. They are there to do a job. They're there to be paid to protect us from harm. And of course, in fact,
basically, if you're breaking the law, you should be dealt with.
Yeah.
As whatever harshness is needed, you should be dealt with.
Absolutely, Graham. There should be no question on the matter. You know, if a police force member has to, use force, then so be it. If they feel it's necessary, then so be it. Of course, nobody wants to lose their life. Nobody should lose their life. There's always got to be another way around things. But in a situation where an officer is under threat, then I think he should be in the position to be able to defend himself in any which way he needs to, without scrutiny from hierarchy afterwards. I think there needs
exactly.
to be
I mean, they are trained, aren't they? Trained to respond with a reasonable amount of force to whatever is happening or coming into their direction.
Yeah.
So if somebody is coming at them with a bar stool or something, then the reasonable force would be to get out their baton, extend it, and use that to defend themselves.
Indeed.
You know, they're trained in that way to do so.
I couldn't agree more. And Graham, hold that thought, because Lee has just messaged in and he said, thank you, Lee, he has said about a 16-year-old young boy who's been washed up, sadly, on the shores of England, Dover, or was it Calais? Actually, it was Calais. My apologies. Calais, 16 years old, been washed up on the shores of Calais, which is sad, very sad. Nobody needs to lose their life in any situation. Again, you ask yourself,
it is extremely sad news.
Was it necessary? But, Lee's asking, how on earth has a 16-year-old lad been able to get that far from Sudan? I mean, this is another thing, we're talking about trafficking, people trafficking, and I'm sure there has been some involvement for that to have happened. But this young lad at 16 being able to get as far as that from Sudan, how has that happened, Graham? How has that been able to happen?
I have no idea, mate. I really don't.
It doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, after all...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. It really does not.
I mean, he would have had to have travelled, wouldn't he? Predominantly through the European Union economic zone. He would have to have travelled. And so why was he not picked up? A young lad at 16. How on earth has he got that far? And then to lose
I know, mate. I mean, it must have taken him months. Months of sadly having to sleep rough, and it's just so sad. Such a young life.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Just dumped out like that.
Yeah, thank you, Lee, for sharing that. That is an awful story, and especially when children are involved. And of course, it doesn't matter what position or what political view you have on the subject of the migrant crisis that it's been deemed to be. It doesn't matter where you sit on the subject. I think everybody can say categorically that it's sad. The lives that are being lost, it's sad. The great risk, of course, which our people are taking, as much as, again, it's sad, again, was it necessary? Again, that's another subject. But you've got to ask yourself, maybe certain situations could have been avoided. But to be washed up at the age of 16 is not nice. Not good at all.
No, it's very sad news. Thoughts and prayers are with the family once they find out.
Yes. Graham, what's our next topic?
We could move on to the quarantine issue to do with UK adding France to the list of quarantine countries, if you wish.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it, because it's news. It's news that matters to you as much as it matters to us. It's an important piece of news.
Yes, it is an important bit of news. Everyone must realise that every government around the world, they have a quarantine list of countries that they have on it. On the United Kingdom's list, there is 155 countries. I have a list of the most prominent ones, which everyone will know of, which is Portugal, the United States of America, Egypt, Tunisia, Bulgaria, Belgium and France, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands and Spain. So they are the main countries at present that are called the key countries. And I believe from 4 a.m. this Saturday, this coming Saturday, holiday makers coming back from the continent have to come back before that time. Otherwise, they face having to stay at home and quarantine themselves for up to 2 weeks. And if they do not have a home to stay at, then they will need to locate a relevant place, and that's going to cost even more money.
Yeah, well.
So it's a bit of a frightening time, especially when they've obviously spent the time throughout the year, previous years, saving up enough money to be able to take their families away on a holiday, and now they're possibly having to cut their holiday short, because if they don't, they're going to end up being stuck in a foreign country. So it's a bit of a concern. Personally, I wouldn't be holidaying at the moment. So that's my opinion. I don't know about you, Ben.
Well,
if you would take that chance.
Graham, I'm sort of a bit mixed on this one, because I mean, you know, what we do understand to know with coronavirus is that as much as we know it's been going on for as many months as it has, that has affected people mentally. And not just mentally, but physically. I mean, you know, some people have not been able to adapt to these awkward changes that we've all had to be imposed upon. And of course, you know, there are people I have witnessed who have travelled abroad, but they've done so in such a way where you could sort of say, well, actually, why not? On the basis that you're doing what you're doing. Now, what I mean is that they're travelling to Europe in caravans or motorhomes. Now, that's a different thing, I think, because you're still staying out of the way of people, I think. You can still be responsible to a degree.
Yes.
And it's a way to get out. I mean, I was talking to one couple recently who said to me, they're in their elderly years. They said, you know, we want to get away. We've had enough. We want to get out of the current surroundings. We want to go into the countryside. We want to be where we believe COVID isn't. And I thought, well, why not? But I agree with you, Graham. It's bizarre how people are taking such risks, and it is risks moving around as people are. And it also begs the question, really, when you think, Graham, when you take COVID-19, we've got bars and clubs now opening, or not so much clubs, but certainly bars. You know, there's not so much, as we know it, social distancing being into play there. It's not happening so much as maybe you'd expect it to. And yet,
yes.
With that said, you know, you've got schools that are still shut. Although, have they been said to be shut? Because we know something about that, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do. We do, don't we, Ben? That was a topic that you were going to talk about.
It was. We actually flew into that without realising that, Graham, didn't we? In fact, that was the best transition I think we've ever had, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. But going back just a little bit, when you brought up about the caravanning side of things.
Yeah, please do.
It was a couple of years ago that you and I had a discussion of like looking into hiring a couple of caravans, weren't it, and taking both of our families like to the south of France, or yeah, wasn't it, on a long drive in like some like motorhome. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's still on your mind. Yeah.
Well, it's affordable. It's affordable. I mean, you can pay, yes, a good sort of £2,000, I think. You know, depending on who you go with, and obviously there are a number of different companies you can use. But you know, you can pay up to something like £2,000 to hire a camper, and you know, provided you've got a driving license, you can a clean license as well. You can take it wherever you like. You know, obviously you want to look after it.
When did you pass your driving test?
Oh, that's a good question. 2001, I think. Yeah. But there are rules around that.
You might be slightly different then. You may have to take a separate test.
Yeah, I think you do.
Maybe.
I think you do. Well, it depends. I think it depends on the weight of the vehicle, Graham. I think it depends on...
It's in a weight and the length of the vehicle, mate.
Well, yes, true. I think you're right, Graham, actually. Yeah, you're right. It is weight.
I think you will probably need a minibus sort of license, 16-seater.
What do you know?
I can actually, on my license, drive up to a 16-seater, because when I passed because I'm getting old now, was in '93.
Grandpa rights, isn't it? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, grandpa rights. Yeah, Yeah, 93, 26th of November, I think it was, about 11:20 in the morning, because I'm such a sad person. I remember that
I
information.
would say that, Graham.
Oh, I am. I infuriate people from time to time. So,
Well, there you go. So if you need somewhere to go in a camper van, because you're out of the way, minding your own business, and you can enjoy your own company with somebody else, of course, and be in your own space, and you haven't got to bother anyone. So maybe that's the way to go at the moment. But yeah, if you do happen to want to travel to France, be careful. If you do happen to stop in France, you will have to self-isolate for 14 days. That's UK government legislation that's being imposed. And that, I think it's fair to say, Graham, has had an effect on what is moving across to Europe at the moment. Numbers have dropped, I think, for that reason. And it's not just France that have got this going on. It's actually, like you say, you've mentioned a few countries also imposed lockdown process or isolation process. But it's only to protect people, isn't it? So just be mindful. But also just travel when it's essential. I still feel that we are still where we are, and it's not that much different. We are, I know a lot of people getting fed up with it. They are. We know that. But it's not going to go away anytime soon, sadly, is it?
no, it will take time. I mean, the scientists are working as hard as they can, and I believe the UK have already secured the possibility of 90 million. Is it 90 million? Once they get a, do you know what, guys? I'm so sorry. I can't remember the figure.
No, it's gone, isn't it?
No, sorry, it's
Well,
gone.
if you don't know, I don't know.
No. So I can't finish the rest of what I was going to say because I can't remember the figure.
But you could tell us about Matt
Otherwise, it wouldn't make much
Hancock.
sense.
Talking about coronavirus, you could talk to us about Matt Hancock, because he, of course, now, isn't it? He has spoken about a new institute for health, hasn't he? Public Health England. Matt Hancock has announced an organisation called the National Institute for Health Protection to replace PHE.
Yes, because of some of the issues that the government has had with the organisation. So the necessary steps have been made to cease, or rename and change the formatting of that. So, I mean, if you're not doing a proper job and you're not actually working as you should be, then that's not down to the government, is it?
Well, no, I think, as I say, we've all got to pull together, haven't we? And as we know, it's having a devastating effect, isn't it, on lots of different businesses across the United Kingdom, and not just us as a country, but also globally. It's an international problem. This is, and so the economy is frightening, because when you have one recession, you can pick yourself up through doing certain business with other nations, and eventually things balance out. But when you've got an international crisis, which I think it's fair to say the pandemic is, that is going to be some recession, sadly, isn't it?
Most certainly, mate. It's going to be quite a scary time for a lot of people.
It is, and there's a lot of
Not
uncertainties.
knowing.
A lot of uncertainties for everybody, I think it's fair to say. But we all put on a brave face. We all keep going, and we all respect what's necessary to respect, and we carry on camping. Graham, when I parked up this morning, carry on camping. Do you like that? Do you remember?
I love that film, Carry On Camping.
Do you remember, Graham, when I parked up this morning? I didn't tell the folks actually, but I parked up this morning and I got out of my car, and there was there was this young lady, Graham, and she walked out of this building and she said,
there you go, guys.
Go on,
Ben's tarting himself off yet again.
No, it was quite funny. She said, "Oh, are you my driver?" And I played along with it, guys. I said,
Oh my God.
I went, well, no, not such.
Do you know what? The viewers do not need to know what was actually, when she said that to you, they don't need to know what you were thinking.
No, but it's a story by this, Graham. All right, let me finish. So here we are, right? So this woman's come out of her house, right, and I've parked up in Folkestone, and she said, "Oh, are you my driver?" And I said, "I'm not sure what you mean, but are you okay? Is everything all right?" And she said, No, I'm waiting for my driver. Next thing, she turns her head and she sees that the learner car is about 2 cars up from me where it parks. It parked around about the same time as me, so I think she just got a bit flustered. And so I said, oh, no, it might be that one. And she goes, yeah, here it is. She said, no, it's all good. She's all good. And then, as she walked across to her, I called out to her and I said, good luck. You know, and she sort of laughed and got in the car. Now, what was it, Graham? Was it about 2 hours or so later? I walked out of the studio. Now, this is the moral of the story here. And I'll come to my point. So I've walked out the studio and I've walked to the very same place to go back to the car, right? And strangely enough, the same woman, young girl, was still there. Well, she obviously hadn't been. She had obviously gone and done her lesson, but she came back. And so I couldn't help but say something. I walked up to her and I said, oh, hello again. And I said, how did it go? She went, oh, it was my first one. Yeah, it went really well. Thank you. And she said, I'm really sorry about earlier. She said, I thought you were my driver. And I laughed. And I said, no. I said, not at all. But I mean, no, I'm glad it went well for you. And then I turned to Grem as we went past. And I said to Grem, I said, you know what? There's about 65 billion odd people in the world. All right. And amazingly enough, I've just seen one person I've never seen before. I've spoken to them randomly and spoken to them again randomly in the same place
Twice.
a few hours later. I mean, Graham, that's just mad, isn't it? I mean, you know, that's why I thought I'd mention it, because there was a story behind it, you know? And I just find that really ironic. You met the same person twice.
No, mate, I put it down to the magnetism of the Benster.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you are just like one great big magnet. You just attract trouble.
Yeah, maybe.
So.
Maybe. Well, anyway, I'm pleased to say that she had a good lesson. It was her first one. So anyway, never met her in my life. Never. She was a friendly enough girl, but it was funny. All she wanted to do was get in the car. She wanted to get in the right car. That could have been awkward. Can you imagine if I'd have been some mad person and said, yeah, no, yeah, I'm your driver. I could have taken her away. I mean, I wouldn't have done that. That's just not right, is it? But you know, but do you know what I mean? I mean, this is why people have to be so aware of people these days. This is why you've got to be so careful around people.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You know, if I'd have been somebody crazy.
Everyone will be safe with you anyway, mate. I mean, you are a people person. So you enjoy interacting with people. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, actually, Graham, I think while we're talking about good deeds here, if you can call that a good deed, we have another good deed, because similarly, not far from there, the day before, we had another situation, didn't we, in Folkestone? Do you want to explain this? Oh,
yeah, dear, bless her. Yeah, I turned up roughly around about the same time as Ben at the studio, and Ben walks towards my car, and there's this old dear. She's looking a bit dazed, wasn't she?
Yeah.
A bit tired as well. So Ben took it upon himself to say, we'll give you a lift, which I didn't mind.
Well, yeah, Graham, what happened was...
And we got in the car and took her for a drive to the pharmacy, wasn't it?
It's really weird. Yeah, no, what happened was she asked me where... Now, anybody that knows Folkestone will know where Radnor Park is. Now, apparently, well, I say apparently, it's very much the case. There is a pharmacy just not far from Radnor Park in Folkestone, Kent.
Yes.
And she wanted this old lady... I say old, that sounds derogatory, doesn't it? Well, this elder person... she said, I need to get to the pharmacy. Whereabouts is it? And I sort of tried to explain it, but all I could think in my head at the time I was explaining it was, wow, that's a long way to walk. You know, she's got a long way to go.
It was. I mean, where we were situated, it was an awful long way for her to go.
For her,
I'm just shocked that they're not delivering.
Yeah. So I turned to Graham.
Because she...
Go on, Graham.
Sorry. Yes. No. I wasn't saying anything like interest. I was just about to state that her age is possibly around about 86, 88. She was quite old.
Yeah.
Quite old, bless her.
Well, that's it. And you know, I said to her, you know, I'll have a word with my mate. I can't, you know, in my head I'm thinking, oh God, this is embarrassing, because not embarrassing, but a bit naughty of me to offer a lift to her, you know, because it wasn't my car, it wasn't my. But I said to Graham.
Oh, Ben, as I said to you at the time, you know, you don't worry about that sort of thing. You know, in that sort of situation, really it's not a problem.
She was grateful, wasn't she, Graham?
Yeah, she was. Bless her. She was so over the moon, and because she was just worried about not being able to get her medication, because she was on. I think she said she was coming to the end of a her meds. Literally, she only had a few days left.
Yeah.
I'm just, as I said earlier, I'm shocked that they don't deliver.
Well, actually, I said to her,
They don't.
yeah. Well, I said to her, didn't I? I said, well, there's actually a pharmacy just not far from here, actually. And she said, oh, well, I've got to use this one particular pharmacy. So that's where I think the lift came in. I thought, well, God, she's got a long way to walk. If I thought she could have just gone up the road there, it would have been easier for her. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, normally when someone says that, well, no, I've got to use a certain pharmacy, that's normally a methadone user or something, isn't it?
Wow.
I definitely don't think that she's a methadone user.
Well, you should never be stereotypical of these things. Because, do you know what?
Oh.
I will say this, at least, always expect the unexpected.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Well, Grem, I think it's about time we moved on from this subject, isn't it? Before the viewers get bored,
Yes.
at least. If they haven't already.
Most certainly. I'll let you take on the next subject.
Right, okay.
Well,
rail fares.
Right, anyway.
Rail fares are going to rise, as it's understood, by 1.6% in January, despite passenger slump. What do you think about that?
I just don't believe it. I mean, I do believe it, but it's just unbelievable. I mean, like some people that have to commute to London, for example, they're paying how many £1,000s a year to do that? Probably would be cheaper to move somewhere like Bexley Heath and sort of commute the rest of the way in. I just think it's atrocious, really. I mean, half the time the trains aren't on time anyway, are they?
Yeah, well, to think it was a mistake to privatise it, Grem, Lee says. Well, this is the thing, isn't it, privatisation?
Well,
it does.
yes, I mean, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, good point, Lee.
No, I agree. I agree, mate. We shouldn't... There's certain things that all countries should keep within the control of the people as such, and that would be obviously like the mail system, like transport, especially to trains, like in the transport. I mean, buses are, they can have the separate entities like they used to have, like it used to be East Kent many years ago. Go for like the Dover area, Dill, Sandwich, towards Hastings, but now it's like mainly Stagecoach, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is a Scottish company, so it's still within the United Kingdom, but it doesn't. It costs more for the people to use, and it shouldn't do. The whole point of franchising these companies, etc., is so the cost would be more reasonable for the punters, but it's not. It ends up being more expensive. It's disgusting, really. Some of these people, what they have to pay just to get to and from work.
Yeah, exactly, Grem. I mean, it is, and people rely on it, don't they, as their mode of transport. Some people don't have driving licences, and so they will use public transport. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a bit like the ferry operators, isn't it? And we've spoken about this in a few episodes ago, didn't we? When we were talking about how prices were hiked because, of course, COVID-19, and of course, lesser traffic was coming through. So, obviously, business-minded, you're gonna put up prices.
Yes, we did, didn't we? You was a bit concerned about carrying on with the conversation.
Well, yeah, but just to mention
it was 0.1, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was, Graham. It was.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
It was. Yeah.
But if,
0.1, and how long did we spend on 0.1?
Ages, Graham, didn't we? But the point being, though, Graham, isn't it? Is you've got to ask yourself.
Oh yeah.
But it's right, though, isn't it?
Ages.
It's right, though, isn't it? Because you've got to charge extra. In the end of the day, it's essential travel. This is what people should be thinking, really, at the moment with COVID-19. It's essential travel. Do you really need to make that trip? So if you've got to pay extra, it's a bit of a cat and a mouse, chicken and the egg, really, isn't it, on that one? I think. Lee's come in.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't. Do you know it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, mate.
No, you don't have to. That's what it's about.
No.
It's the Ben&Grem Show. You don't have to agree with me.
Because, it's just that some of the I think it's just P&O, but I know of up to £300. It's just ridiculous for a day trip.
Yeah. I think it wasn't just Pinot either, but anyhow, you know, I think it was actually understood that a number of different operators did the very same thing. You know, but again,
Yeah, it was whoever it was, mate. So we won't bring up the other company names.
Well, Lee says,
for
Graham,
obvious
no, maybe
reasons.
maybe not. But Lee says it's a false economy to privatise nationally owned things. No, I agree. Schools are classic example. Classic example, Lee. Yes, absolutely. Academies. Yeah. Well, yeah, you know that very much, Lee. Yeah, it's very sad. And talking about education, Lee, and you bring us on to a very, very good subject. It's our very next subject on the agenda of things, and it's about the education system. And of course, we've locked down, and we've understood that these children, of course, have not been able to go to school. Students, if you like to refer them as, and they've been given work to do. They've been given work to go home to and do. But sadly, that has become an issue. And why is it an issue? Well, it's been an issue because the government have put in a new scheme. And it's an algorithm scheme, although they have done a U-turn on that. They've changed that. The scheme now is completely different to what it was initially back when we seem to have lost Graham. I've noticed we have.
Am I here?
He's back.
Am I back?
He's back. Yeah, he's back. He is back.
Yeah, my reception, I'm afraid, everybody, is it keeps dipping. I get a full reception and then it goes.
Right, well, anyway, we've got you back, Graham. That's fine. We've got you back. I think we've got you back. No, we haven't got you back. We haven't got you back visually.
Okay. Well, it's fine. We'll carry on as it is. I mean, no one wants to look at this ugly mug anyway. People would rather look at you, so.
Well, I won't go that far.
Carry on.
Graham, I was just saying, Graham, we were talking about the coronavirus and of course how it's impacted on schools. And of course, obviously I got a bit distracted myself, guys. There, I do apologise. But of course, with the situation with Graham's camera, so basically the situation is this. You know, so we've had these students stay away from school. Obviously, schools have been closed for the duration, and with that, it's that time again, isn't it? Exam time. And so at one point in time, there was an algorithm created which was enabling teachers to be able to grade students based on the year's performance to then give them the GCSE level grade or above to see whether they'd be suitable for universities or not. That came with some scrutiny, particularly by the parents of students. And of course now, with that, because it was so ambiguous on the grading system, some children or students weren't getting universities and some were, based on the grades they were given. They've now gone into a different type of scheme, a different type of structure. And that seems to be a little bit better, it seems. A bit of a U-turn by the government on that, on the education side of things. But it's crazy, isn't it? Because, you know, you can't really make these things up. You know, these are people's futures. These are young students' futures. You know, and so you can't guess a child's future, can you? It has to be, absolutely, it has to be correct. Graham, nice to have you back. And I'm glad you're back and back with us. Just a small technical issue there, but you're back. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Graham, I don't know if you got
may go again.
And we'll go
I
again.
did. I think it will go again. I think it's the battery, and it had quite a long time left on it, so it switched itself off.
That's fine, because we were just touching on the subject of academies, and we were talking. Well, Lee was talking about academies and education, but then we moved on very swiftly. Sorry, Graham. We moved on to the.
Oh no, it's fine. I heard it. I heard it all.
Good. Go for it. What's your view on it? You got it.
Don't worry. Well, I have, but
that's thrown you now, hasn't it, Graham?
But it has. I get quite frustrated, and nothing ever seems to sort of make wise with the show. There's always some sort of technical issue. So I'm waiting for it to go again at some point.
It wouldn't be the Ben&Grem Show, would it? But there you go. Lee, he says the problem now for A-level students is if they have lost a place, that the university will have offered it to someone else, and if that fills them, then those now with grades and an offer don't fit. Yeah. So yeah, I see what you're saying, Lee. Yeah, because the system maybe seemed to be broken before. It's a bit late now to say, well, actually, now you've got the grades that you need sufficiently enough to go to university. But actually, sorry, but those places are filled. Yeah. And then, of course, you take go to the other extent. For a student who has been given the necessary grades to be able to go to university, under the new scheme, find that they did maybe cut the grade, they're going to complain because ultimately then they're not at the right level, and they should have been in their mind. So I mean, you're not going to win. Again, it's another situation that maybe shouldn't have occurred, and so maybe questions need to be asked of the education secretary as to why this mistake was made in the first place, and maybe more thought needed to go into the process. We have lost Grem again. It's okay though, he will be back with us, I'm sure. In the meantime, you just have to listen to me, sadly. But you know, these things happen. You know, they happen, don't they? These things happen. Yeah, thank you, Lee. You're right. It's the timer on the camera should also show when it's low, Grem. Yes, I hope you got that. There's a timer on the camera when it says about being low. Yeah, we've lost video of Graham, but you know, he will come back, that I'm sure. But yeah, we've had a great time anyway. We've had a wonderful evening. Another Ben and Grem show Wednesday night. We have been busy. We have been, as you may not be aware, but we have been in the studio quite significantly recently, and because of that, we've had to divide our attention elsewhere. So with that and work commitments, we've not been able to do the Sunday and the Monday night show. But that's not to say that we won't in the future. We will where we can. And of course, with that, as I say, we will have a new TV channel live coming to you under Great Britain TV in due course in the future. So, with that said, I want to say thanks to everybody for joining us again for another wonderful evening of the Ben and Grem Show. It's been a pleasure. Grem has been Grem, I've been Ben. We've had a good time, as always. Generally all grades, Lee has said, generally all grades will go up and Grem's sound will stay on. Yes, it will, Grem. I don't know if you're still talking to us, but if you are there still, Grem, please give us a holler. He's not with us visually, but he should be with us auditably. Auditably? Auditable. Audibly. Is that the right word, guys? Wearing my Leeds United shirt today. Still excited. The fact that they've gone up, promoted. Got to show these things off. It's one of my favourite shirts actually. This shirt is a Leeds United training shirt, guys. For those of you that want to know, I wore this at one of the Leeds United games that I went to see a few months back, when of course we could. Sad to say we can't at the moment, and I hope that will change. I do expect, I think, to believe that the football season will start again September the 12th, and with that I expect to believe, or at least I understand to believe, that will come with football fans visiting stadiums as well. So we'll have to wait and see about that. More, I'm sure, will be on that in the future for those football fans. So yeah, how has everybody been? It has been a little while since we did a Ben and Grem show. Graham will be back soon. He has just lost his video for the moment in time, and audio at the moment, it seems. Brighton are testing reduced crowds next weekend. That's Lee. He says that Brighton are testing reduced crowds. Yeah, that's good, Lee. I mean, I think, you know, I think it's fair to say, with the fact that, you know, pubs and clubs are opening now, or I say clubs, I keep saying clubs, they're not. Clubs aren't opening, it's pubs. Well, because pubs are opening now, and people are gathering. I think people are starting to fall back into a normality again. So I do think it's about time, maybe, that yes, football stadiums do start to fill up again. But you know, you can still social distance in stadiums as you can anywhere else. I mean, you've only got to miss a seat, haven't you? Have a seat, miss a seat, have a seat, miss a seat. You could do that, I suppose, if football clubs want to do that. It's better than nothing. It's got to be revenue of some form for them, and it's got to be good for those that want to go and see the games. So good luck to Brighton for doing that. Brighton and Hove Albion. Lisa also said it's part of government request. Yes, it is actually. You're right, Lee. It was a government request to get the football back up and running, and I think it's right that they do. I do think we do need to start getting back to a reasonable normality. And again, I will add by saying that, not to say we should ignore the rules around COVID-19. We still need to be vigilant, and we still need to take precautions and be safe, not just for ourselves but others. Protect everybody. we still need to do those things. Absolutely, but I just think absolutely we've got to now start thinking about getting the economy back on its feet. If it's not just within football, but it should also considered to be within the realms of business in general. I just started there for a minute because I think we've got some good news, guys. I think we have our Grem back. Yes, we do. Grem, how's things? Don't worry, Grem. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. We've just been having a nice little chat.
No, it's all right. I'm used to this. I'm used to it.
So we're all good then. How's that?
I've managed in the process of. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Say again, Ben.
No, after you.
I didn't hear what you said.
No, I didn't either.
Well, I didn't hear what you said.
No, did I? I don't think it was me that said it.
Right. Okay. No. Anyway, I will say, as I was trying to get the battery out the bag, I thought, because I'm a bit simple, I've got loads of batteries, I'll just replace the battery. I mean, so I go and get the battery out of the bag, and at the same time I knock over my glass of blackcurrant juice. No. But
well, I have to say, Grem, that's not the first
that's
time.
lie.
I've done that. I've been doing a show with you guys, and I kicked over water before. My foot got soaked, but I carried on.
Oh yes, you did. Yeah.
Anyway, but Lee, we're talking about football grounds, Grem, and we're talking about how football stadiums, Brighton and Hove Albion, at the weekend are testing, or next weekend are testing reduced crowds attending matches. And with that, that's a good thing because, of course, we do need to see that happening now. And, of course, the government have issued the need for that to start coming back into play again, fans. And we know that they're playing football, these teams. And, crowds, I think it's a good thing. We need to do that. I think we do need to do that. Not just for the economy of football, but the economy in general, because clubs are on the brink of destruction. I mean, financial destruction. I mean, Dover Athletic, for those of you that are interested in local football at least, the stories come out recently that, financially they're struggling, and you can understand. They're a national league team.
Ben, please excuse me.
Please.
Everyone, just excuse me for a second. I've got another issue. Oh, and it's my own making, believe it or not. Normally, this is not me, but I've done something else.
Would you like the camera to stay on you, Graham, for a minute? No, it's fine. Well, Graham...
you froze my picture, haven't you?
No, I've come away from you guys for the minute. I've come away from Graham, haven't I? Andrew, Leonard White, thank you, Andrew, has said, just got home from work, and you are... Start again. Andrew says he's just got home from work. Are you on until 21:30? I can't see why not. Andrew. We're having a great time. We're having a few technical issues with our good Graham here, his camera, but it's working out, all right? It's all good.
What are you agreeing to? What are
It sounds like he's in the bathroom.
Me.
Graham, are you in the bathroom?
Oh yes, I'm really gonna. Oh my God, look, mate. There's no way I'm gonna get naked in front of the camera.
No, I just wondered. You sounded like...
No, I'm fine here.
You sounded like you're in the bathroom. Andrew's back with us. He's back home from work. He says, are we here until 21:30? As I said to him, well, we'll see. We don't know, but maybe not. I mean, we're having a good time. He's also said, Andrew, I've just got back. No, he hasn't. He's just said that already. I've already repeated that. He says, checking up on the chat, my favourite sandwich is cheese in a tiger bap. Yes. Well, actually, thank you, Andrew, for bringing me back to that, because whilst that is your favourite, I want to mention the BLT, because that's Lee's favourite, and I never called that out earlier. So thank you, Lee, for that, and thank you, Andrew. I mean, I do like a baguette, especially when it's been in the fridge. And I've been really fortunate, because the last few nights I've been working, or late, so I've been working at work, I had a couple of baguettes that I bought from the local shop, and I have to say it was it's a nice change. Do you not, guys? I mean, how many of you, while we're on the subject of food, how many of you go to work and feel excited about what you've got in your lunchbox? Is it just me? Do you get like that, Grim? I think Graham's gone again. Has he gone? Yes, he has. Yeah, he has. That's sad. He's frozen, guys. He's frozen like a freezer. And he's gone. He'll be back. No, he's back. He was always back. Graham, did you catch what I said last? about the lunchbox. No, we've gone. We've lost him. Yeah, well, guys, I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I do. I look forward to. Yeah, Andrew, he says he looks forward to a pack up. Yeah, I do. I do.
What's happening?
I don't know. He's back.
No.
He's back. I think it might be your internet, Grem. I think you might be just lagging a little bit. If you have a door that's shut,
It is.
that's all right, Grem, because what you need to do is just open that door slightly. I know it sounds bizarre. Are you at home?
Open the door.
Believe you me, Wi-Fi works when you've got gaps.
No.
It works without gaps, but it does help. Believe you me, if you're working on a Wi-Fi signal, you really need to work on a cable signal, mate. But if you're working on a Wi-Fi signal, just open the door ajar. It does help. Just a bit of a tip there. Grem needs to put... Andrew says Grem needs to put 10p in the meter. Oh, no, in his broadband.
Oh, God. Look, let's not go down that route again, because that, that show was just, oh, my God. Oh.
Grem, you
I could have gave up halfway through, but I persevered and held on.
But Grem, you still haven't answered the question. What do you have? What do you get excited about your pack up, Grem?
Pack up?
Yeah. When you go to work, do you take a pack up?
What pack up?
Any pack up. Do you take a pack up to work?
No, I'll just take some pasta and I'll boil some pasta and maybe put some tomatoes in it and a bit of like salmon or something. Just make something up.
All right.
Like that, because I work night shifts, so yeah, quite healthy.
Well, I always like a good goodie or two in my pack up. I think it does. It makes your day. If you open your pack up and you've got a really yummy yogurt, that's great. Or even a banana, or even a really yummy roll or something. No, it's great. It does. It makes you look forward to your break. Do you know what I mean? I never go to work without food.
Yeah.
I couldn't live. Well, nobody could. That's the whole point. You have to eat to energise yourself. But my point being is, if you're at work and you...
Well, I don't know, actually. I mean, you can go the whole day without eating.
I can, but I don't choose to, and I only do so if I'm not prepared. For example, if we go to places like Torquay, Grem, do you remember that? And we stay out all day. We have a breakfast at the hotel, and
yeah, that's different. Cause yeah.
Yeah, I mean those
and
situations.
Egg sandwiches and
and car journeys, and smelly fields.
Disgusting.
Andrew says maybe a Grem. AC adapter, he says. Yeah, well, actually, Andrew, he is in the process of that. He's getting one soon. AC adapter.
I've had I've done the next best thing. I basically have got a booster for the Wi-Fi system from downstairs. We're in a 4-story house, and I'm right at the top room, back room as well. But we do have a booster. And it makes no difference whatsoever because of what's happening now.
Well,
it
happens. It happens, Grem. I don't know what your signal is. I don't know whether it's 1 or 2 megabyte. I mean, but we are running at a bit rate of, I believe, 5 megabyte. And that's for the purpose of the stream as well. Because, guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we are running in 1080p this evening. So I'm not sure, Graham, whether it's just struggling slightly on your end to compete with that, potentially, the bit rate. I don't know.
Possibly.
We'll have to look into that into the future. I will have to look into that. I'm wondering if we can run, guys. This is for the techs out there, techies. Can you run a low latency on 5 megabyte broadband bit rate? There you go. That's the question I want to know. Answer.
Andrew should be able to answer that, or Lee.
Yeah, well, Andrew's going to be away for a minute. He's putting his youngster to bed. No problem, Andrew. Thanks for mentioning it. I hope he sleeps well. And Lee says, I don't remember ever having a packed lunch. I have a kitchen when I'm teaching and usually cook something. That's great. Well, we do, don't we, in certain places of work. I mean, I always take a packed lunch. But when I say that, sometimes I have a nice microwavable meal I can pop in the microwave, or a noodle you can just pour hot water into, a good old noodle pot. don't do the pot noodles or such though. I'm not. I mean, I don't mind a pot noodle, but I just find them a bit junk food like. You know, they're not as good as some other pots of food you can buy.
How about those mug shots? Have you tried those?
Mug shots?
They're called mug shots, aren't they? Yeah. They're quite nice.
And actually, yeah, and pesto and pasta. What a lunch that is. Have you ever had pesto and pasta for lunch? That's nice. A bit bland, especially.
I have. I don't know about anyone else. Yeah, but you can always add to it, can't you? You can always add something else. You know, if you want to squirt a bit of tomato sauce in there, you want to squirt anything in there, just squirt away and add different flavour.
I mean, I don't get, talking about squirts, Grem, I don't get why.
Good old squirting.
I don't get why.
Squirt here and there.
Grem, why on earth do people use, that's the wrong camera, guys. There you go. Why is it, right, Grem, why do people put tomato ketchup on a roast dinner? I've said this before, haven't I?
Oh, I don't understand it. I mean, it just spoils the whole point of a roast dinner.
You know, you got beef. You don't want to put tomato ketchup with beef, do you? You want to put mustard or horseradish, not tomato ketchup.
No, I know your point. Yeah, totally agree with you.
Wouldn't be squirting any of that on my dinner. Tomato ketchup, mate.
No.
Unless it's spud, jacket potato or something. But that's kind of passable. Or chips, that's fine. But tomato has to go with certain things. I don't think it goes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Then again, with the likes of chips, people like gravy, and I'm thinking, I don't think why. Gravy with chips, but then if you think about roast potatoes, they're basically like a
gravy and chips. Very British, isn't it? Yeah. Gravy and chips.
Yeah.
Pie and chips.
I wouldn't say it's British. Pie and chips, yeah.
Yeah. Chip shop curry gravy.
Chips.
Now that's nice. I think you can get that out of Iceland, guys.
How did we get on the subject of
I don't know. I think we were talking about packed lunches, Grem, and somehow we were talking about junk food.
Oh yes, we were, weren't we?
And then we talked about sauce, and then we were talking about squirting sauces on your dinner.
Yeah, oh yeah. Nothing like a good old squirt, is it? Every now and then over your dinner or something.
Lee says, he says, I usually prepare some bread dough one lunch. Freeze it and then into several balls, and then take one out and make cinnamon rolls. Maybe one for a pizza base, a couple of bread rolls. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Well, I used to work in a bakery.
It's different. Yeah.
It is different. That's a good idea. I used to work in a bakery, and bread rolls. Yeah, make little balls, dough balls and stuff, and put stuff in and make garlic or something, garlic sauce. Yeah.
Yes, you used to like to change the recipe, didn't you? You used to like to change the recipe, but luckily enough that when you did, it worked out, didn't it?
Yeah, there's a story behind this, guys. Thanks, Grem, for coming on to that, and I want to just be clear on that, because if you happen to be watching Paul Hollywood, obviously I was working under you, so I was working for you, and and of course we had a recipe to follow. But I don't know.
And Ben being Ben thought, oh, let's put a bit of a twist in here.
Well, I can't remember. I think what it was, I don't think it was so much the recipe, although it did have something to do with the heat that I implemented into the dough. Because as many of you will know, for those of you that bake, you need a bit of warm water to get the yeast to become activated, which will then allow the dough to rise. All right. You can get self-rising yeast, and that works just the same way, but some need warm water or warm environments. So you're looking at around about 30 odd degrees, typically, for the dough to start doing its thing, to work in its magic. So what I used to do, and bearing in mind I was in a bakery, so what we used to do is we used to have like 16 kilo bags of white flour, or wheat flour, or whatever type of flour it would be, whether it would be sourdough or whatever. And so what we used to have to do was because it was a very old school type of bakery, in the sense that we did everything by hand, very rustic, which was great, and that's what I enjoyed about it. It wasn't production line bakery. It was more hands on. It's fantastic. We used to have a big bowl, a mixing bowl, and we used to have the machine mix the dough. You used to chuck everything in it, and then let it do its thing. But we used to pour buckets because it was a big. But you know, we were mixing up 50 kilos worth of dough, and so we were literally just mixing up buckets. It was like a cement mixer. But I used to use a little bit. Oh, Paul, sorry about this, guys. Sorry, Paul, if it ever caused a problem and you weren't aware of it. Although you may have been aware of it, I don't know. But so I used to use almost boiling water, not quite boiling water, because that can kill the yeast. But I used to use on the borderline of boiling water, and I used to let it mix. And then when I used to put it in the tubs, because we used to have to let it rise in these plastic see-through tubs, we used to then pop it out on the desk, and then we used to cut it up. We used to have a little cutter, we used to have scales, and we used to cut it up into, I think it was something like 50 grams per, slice. So cut, weigh, put it on the table, cut, weigh, and we used to do that until we got all of the balls of dough, and then we used to make our rolls with it, or make whatever we would make, our buns or flatbreads or whatever. But I used to do that, Grem. Sorry to bore you guys, but I used to do that. I used to put the hotter water with it because it used to allow the dough to rise much quicker. You used to bang out the order, put it to one side, get it in the oven, and then on to your next order. And it used to be a process. It was like a manufacture line, and you worked to your advantages to how you could get your jobs done efficiently and effectively.
Yes, you did. And the end result, though, mate. The end result.
Well,
you got a really positive remark, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, no, Paul was very...
A bit of a telling off, but positive.
Yeah, Paul Hollywood was very critical when he needed to be, and he was very promoting when he needed to be also, and of course, if you did a good job, he would tell you so. He was a good manager, and when you did a bad job, he would tell you again. And he would want to know how you got to that stage to get it as bad as it was. But no, he put a lot of trust in his workers. I mean, there was only 4 of us, actually, that worked for him. And there was only ever sort of 2 of us in the bakery at any one given time. Sometimes it was just one of us, depending on the numbers of the orders we had. We used to do orders for Harrods, Waitrose, and Roxol in Folkestone. And I was a bit of a delivery driver for Paul Hollywood for a little while as well. But predominantly I was baking for him. And every now and again he would give us a little treat, and he'd say, "Look, make a new line, make a new product for Christmas." And so we'd make something for Christmas that would be sent out to Harrods or Waitrose, and obviously it would be on their request. Of course, we'd do everything by what they wanted. But yeah, we had a bit of a production going. It was fantastic. Harrods as well was the other one. But yeah, sadly, like all good things come to an end. I enjoyed it while it lasted, and Paul Hollywood has done very well for himself. He works, as you know, the Great British Bake Off. He also had the American Bake Off. And he's a Kent guy. I believe he still lives in Kent, and very approachable. So, thank you, Paul, for some happy times. I enjoyed them. But like I say, all good things come to an end. But yeah, baking. Never thought I'd ever be a baker, Graham. Well, I was once. I'm not quite a jack of all trades, but I've done a number of different things. Yeah, we've all had experiences in work.
But you are the sort of person that will but you're the sort of person, isn't it, Ben, that will put your hand to anything. You've given the opportunity to learn something new. It's one thing with Ben, everyone. He will take what needs to be done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we played up as well in the bakery, but
I bet you did. Yeah.
But we were generally quite, we were quite on the ball. We had lots of orders to do, and because we were, like I said, because it was an old school type of baking system that we had, old school hands-on. The numbers we were doing, you wouldn't expect to have seen anywhere in an old school type of bakery. It was more production line numbers. These were heavy numbers, and we were constant. I mean, we could be in there a day and a night almost, and that's no joke. I remember one time, I shouldn't say this really, but it's a long time ago now. But I remember one time we came in for a morning shift because we did our day shifts and we also did night shifts. But I remember coming in one morning, and me and the guys, we were working, and then it got to the evening, and we only went home to have something to eat because we had to go back at 3 a.m. to do a clean-up of the whole entire bakery because we had an audit the next morning. And I remember driving to the bakery from Dover, because I was living in Dover at the time. And But the hours we were putting in was astronomical. We were literally walking zombies at some stage, at some points. I mean, honestly, because we were so dedicated to get the work done, and we enjoyed the job. Don't get me wrong, but we were like a real team. You know, even when it was tough, even when we were stressed, even when the pressure was on, we kept on going. But yeah, they were good times. But it was a funny job in the sense of the responsibilities we had. It was almost like. Like, Graham, what I mean by this is, if it's your business, you want to do well by it, and you will put all the time into it, and you will do more time than anybody else because you want it to succeed. It was kind of like we all had that mentality for this guy. We all respected Paul, we all wanted to get the jobs done, we all wanted to complete the mission, and it was like that every time. It was very, go. But anyway, over to the viewers, Graham. Must not neglect. So Lee has said... He said, my first job was in a kitchen Thursday morning. My job was scrambled egg for 900 people. That's all right, isn't it? Scrambled egg. I like scrambled egg, don't you? Yeah. It was a holiday park, he says.
Yeah, just put a load of eggs and mash them up in the, in a pot, just a dash of milk and shove it in a massive microwave.
That's
there
it.
You go. Done.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
That works. He also says, Andrew says, that's a lot of eggs, Lee Turner. Yeah, well, actually, that is a lot of eggs. Cool. Talking of eggs, Graham, and those egg sandwiches and that car journey.
Yeah, it's going to be... Oh, God, don't go on.
Can you imagine that?
I love these sandwiches.
It's going to be 900 eggs at least, isn't it? If you're talking 900 people, they've got to have at least one egg each. Unless someone gets a broken one.
Well, we'll scramble it. With scrambled eggs, you find it's about 2 eggs you have, isn't it? Of course you do. So it's double the amount.
Of course, yeah. It'd just be...
Yeah.
Wow. I love it, though. Don't you? Nice bit of pepper on your scrambled egg. Who likes that?
Yeah. You've got to have a little bit of salt as well. Not too much salt, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, Andrew says it sounds like a lot of work.
Nice. If you are actually able to take it.
Yeah.
What did Andrew say?
Andrew's also said he said...
I didn't hear what...
He said just a scramble, Graham, sounds like a lot of work. But he also followed on by saying he enjoys the IKS cooking videos, IKS production, online YouTube channel, cooking videos. Yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. And with that, also, not only does he his historical videos as well, but he also does the occasional home brew video. He's got some kit and he does stuff on that as well. So yeah, definitely tune in. Lee says, Graham, he says the saucepan was boiled. Hang on, the saucepan was... Oh, no, he says, sorry, not boiled. Sorry, I do apologise, Lee. He says the saucepan was bolted to the floor. It had a handle on the side and looked more like a cement mixer.
Oh, my, I'm not surprised.
Well,
the amount of eggs. You're talking about 1,800, aren't you?
Yeah.
At least.
Well, Graham, talking about funny contraptions, and Lee, you bring me on to my point here on the subject of P&O ferries. Who's worked on P&O ferries, firstly? I want to know, because you'll know what I'm talking about. Graham, have you worked on P&O ferries?
No, I nearly did once. I applied for a position on there, but I did get accepted, but then I decided I didn't want to go and do it.
Yeah. Well, I worked as a chef.
Ended up at a petrol station instead up at Whitfield.
Well, I worked as a chef on there for a bit. In fact, no.
Yeah,
actually,
you did, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I did start, Graham. I did start as a kitchen porter. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's the person that washes the pots. Right, you've got to start somewhere. And I absolutely despised it, and they knew that. And so I was sort of promoted. I ended up becoming live on board member crew, which I enjoyed. It was so much better than day on, day off, because I hated going on and off the ship. And it was day on, day off back then, so I wanted to be on live on board. And of course, the moral story is this: I was made to be a chef, and really enjoyed the time on there, living on board. But we used to have this machine, guys. If you know what I mean by the chef galley on the ferry, you have this machine called the Gobbler. I don't know if it's still called the Gobbler.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Now, this thing was disgusting, all right? So bearing in mind, it's, again, a production line. Food going in, food coming out, ovens going all the time, alarms going off, things going in the pot wash. It's manic. I mean, even just by saying it now, I'm sweating. But I remember the Gobbler. So when people used to have their, the trays they used to bring back to be washed up, to be then put back out to be resupplied, the trays would come in, and then the gobbler would get a gobbleful of all the old scraps of food, and it used to just like literally be like a few blades. I don't know how it worked, but it would spin in this like sort of bowl, and it would make the horrific noise as it's compacting everything into a bin below it, and it was the most foulest thing ever. And my time as a kitchen porter, I say, we used to have to empty that bin when it used to get full. Well, sometimes because it was so busy, I remember. Sorry, I hope I'm not pointing too many things out on P&O ferries here. But when it used to get really busy, it used to get really fat. This bin, and it used to weigh a ton. You used to have to put it over your shoulder, and you'd take it down to another area where it would go down a chute. But sometimes it would split. And it would go everywhere. But the thing is, you got soaked anyway, because as a kitchen porter,
my God, no.
Yeah, you used to get soaked, because the water used to be slushing around. The ferry was going everywhere. It was busy. It was an experience. Let's just say, guys. Although I enjoyed it. Again, it's an experience I wouldn't turn away from again, maybe. But I wouldn't go back there in a hurry because it was hard work. It was hard work, Grem. Anybody that works on the ferries knows what I mean.
Yeah.
It was hard work. Right, where are we? Yes, so Andrew Grem, he has said, strawberry cider wasn't Ian's latest brew video. What? No, sorry, he says no, it wasn't. Sorry, he says strawberry cider was. Sorry, Andrew. It was. I'm tired, mate. We've been in the studio this morning, guys. We've had a long one, haven't we, Grem?
I look tired myself.
We haven't stopped, have we? We haven't stopped. And but anyway, you don't need to hear that. That's not important.
No, for the last 3 bloody days.
Yeah. So there you go, strawberry cider. LK Ian Stead's channel, IKS Production. Have a look. Strawberry cider video. That's interesting. I'll have a look at that. Strawberry cider sounds nice, actually. Lee said he was 15 when he started as a kitchen porter. First experience, head chef took me to the hot plate. Picked up a stack of plates, hand them to me, and start telling me what to do. These things. Thing is, these plates had just come out of the oven. My hands were badly blistered. Ouch. Yeah. Ow. At the end of the day, a cook comes up to me and says, "Are you back tomorrow?" And I say yes. To which he says, "Well done. So you didn't stop the plates. You'd be gone otherwise." So you didn't drop the plates, you'd be gone otherwise. Right, okay, well, that was a bit of a test. Well, I'm glad you succeeded, Lee. Well, I suppose it was one of them, isn't it? Ow, you couldn't, you didn't want to drop them. Yeah. But yeah, that was another thing, Lee. You're absolutely right. On the galley, in the galley, you had to be careful. Not only did it become slippery, bearing in mind, you had the galley gullies, we used to call them, and you used to have to sweep up the floor occasionally because you have water on the floor and... anyway, it was an experience, but I did get hard fingers through working in the galley as a chef for a little while. The thing is, I say I was a chef. I wasn't really a chef. I was a chef. I was a cook, but I wasn't like the others. I mean, I wasn't brought.
Well, you were offered another position, though, wasn't you?
I was, yeah. Well, I was offered a chef, but I was more sort of. I kind of did things like boiling eggs.
Was that like a shoe? Is it a shoe chef? Shoe chef?
Yeah, I just kind of like boiled eggs and made eggs up and, chopped veg up and did the spuds in our rumbler machine we used to have. We used to take all the skins off the spuds, used to cut them, and then we used to put them in trays in the oven and stuff. So I did cook and prepare, but I didn't do everything that was expected of the chefs to do because I wasn't a full chef. I just kind of helped out because I was so fed up with being a kitchen porter, and I did that a few years, and they gave me a little promotion, which I was quite pleased about. And I got on with everybody in the galley, and it was an experience. But, like all things, again, they come to an end. You move on. Things change. Did office work, Grem. So, you go through life, don't you?
You've done quite a lot. You've done quite a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Haven't you?
Just want to say, we'll go on to the next point, because Lee said, at the end of the day, a cook comes up to me and says, "Are you back tomorrow?" I say yes. No, actually, I've already read that. Sorry, Lee. Lee says uniform includes wellies. No, they were still toe caps, Lee. Yours might have been wellies, of course. Yeah, maybe. But no, we had to wear steel toe caps because we were on the ferries, and obviously we weren't just. For those that were working on the ferries, weren't just working like myself in the galley. They had to work in different areas. We used to have to move to different levels of the ship anyway, particularly like the stores, which was on deck 2, I remember, and deck 1. under the sea as well. I remember my first day. One guy said to me, he said, "Can you hear that water?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "What is that?" He said, "That's the hull. Like, you can hear the water against the side of the ship." And I freaked out. And he was like, "You'll be fine."
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and it was really freaky because you can actually hear it, But anyway, that's neither here or there. Andrew Leonard White, he says, really liking the 1080p resolution. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, well, Andrew, we were talking about this earlier. We have got better equipment we're using at the moment. Thank you to Lee for that.
Yeah, we have. It's nice to. Yeah, thank you, Lee.
It's studio grade quality, and I think that's probably coming across. But Lee has been a great help to us for that because he is the man with the plans, and he is also very much involved in the online TV station that we are due to roll out soon. And he's one of our production members as well. So thanks, Lee, and a bit of a shout out for you there. Lee says it reminds him of a nasty accident. He says the saucepans I described earlier had a tap at the bottom and a drain to drain any water. New lad started and filled his boots. Never heard someone yell as much as his boot melted. Oh my days! Wow, yeah, that's got to be serious. Wow, dangerous. Ouch. Andrew says Elgato Ecamm. Well, Lee, you might be able to help us out with that. No, I think it's a Sony. Lee, what is it? It's a Sony. Well, we both got Sonys. Graham, have you got a Sony?
Yes. I just think what you was on about then, because my reception is so bad, your voice keeps breaking a little bit.
You're doing all right, Graham. It's coming all right through
I don't know what I am.
Well, yeah, it's no, they're Sony cameras.
Yeah, but as long as. Yeah.
Lee says, no, Andrew says, ouch. At Lee's point about the boots and melting the boots, and of course Lee said he didn't come back. Yeah, it's a bit of kit.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice quality. I'm very pleased with the quality of the picture.
Oh yeah, so Andrew's saying, Lee and Graham, he says he's planning to live stream himself. He's not sure what to go for. Well, Lee, definitely Lee's your man for that, Andrew, because Lee knows his stuff there as well. Like you, actually. I mean, you've got some nice kit. You use nice kit as well. But yeah, I mean, the options are plenty. It seems, there's so many different options you can go with. There's so many different things out there, and but really, you want to get the right thing for what you want, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really happy, aren't we, Graham, with how things are progressing, and more importantly, how the online TV show is going to come out. Which, as I say, Lee is working with us very hard behind the scenes upon helping to manufacture, and the team otherwise around us and Lee. And so, yeah, soon enough in time we'll have that roll out. Will be good. It will be good. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's just about that time. We'll say it's getting right. Andrew says it's getting the right interface to make it all come together.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, Lee. Andrew, in fact, yeah, it is. You want the right stuff, and you also want mixes and things like that, don't you? I mean, Lee knows about the mixes and things as well. A lot of that in the studio is already in play. We've got everything ready for us. But when we're at home and doing recordings, Graham, aren't we? We're going by what we've got, and although now what we've got is good, it's not as ready to go, if you like, as the studio. But that neither here nor there to say, we're doing good.
We need a fixed location. We need to look into that.
Yeah.
What's on offer? I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah, well, Andrew says
what he's on offer is acceptable.
No, I don't know either. But no, Andrew says it's good to see that we're working with YouTube. He says Facebook seems to be going wrong. Yeah, everything seems to be going well with YouTube. No, I think, Andrew, yeah, I agree. We did have a few problems with Facebook, as you know. It does appear to be good. OBS and YouTube, for anybody who's interested in the behind-the-scenes technical aspect of how we're going about this today. Yeah, it is much better. And I think the fact you can actually live stream with a resolution that you choose helps. Because you couldn't do that with Facebook. Purely your software would do that. and say, Grem, I'd have to upscale, not so much upscale, but I'd have to encode things later on when I edit. But at least this is going to be a lot easier, I think. So I think we will stick.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we were going through Zoom, through was it OPS, and then on to whatever. But now it's from OPS to straight to YouTube, and then from YouTube out, we can just send, send a link out to relevant social media sites, and from there, you guys can view us.
Yeah. Well, it does seem to be the way forward, OBS. I mean, it in my opinion, Andrew, I mean, for me, I find it a little bit clunky at times. I mean, you've always got to go over everything just to make sure everything is how you left it. It can be a bit clunky, but that could be just the user. Don't blame your tools, they say. But yeah, YouTube is quite nice. And of course, yes, we're going to be doing things rather differently when we come to doing the show through the studio. We've got a whole different structure. And we, myself and Grem, aren't solely in control of what goes out. So, which is another pressure off of us, in a sense. We just have to turn up. So that's good, isn't it?
It's a pressure, but it's also, it can be a difficulty as well.
Yes, it can.
Slightly.
To answer...
because we're trying to keep, obviously, aren't we? We're trying to keep it as it is, and it's difficult. Different surroundings and so on.
Absolutely, it is. Well, just to keep to the subject, Grem, as well, because we were talking about kit, and of course, Andrew asked what kit we had. Lee has come back, and he said, firstly, he says, I thought the interface was essential, but actually, I've discovered much cheaper ways of doing it. That's interesting, Lee. He actually goes on to say, Lee, that myself, that's me, Ben, has the Sony HVR Z7E, I think I've said that correctly. A Z5 works fine, but you can pick these up now for about £500. It's a 5K camcorder, but it also has a built-in sound system that is excellent. Yeah. Well, I can't disagree there. So what have you got then, Grem? You must have the same.
I believe it is the same, except for my sound system is gone a bit funny.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. It is coming through okay. I mean, Andrew says, Graham, he says, Lee says he sounds very good camera. The quality sounds like a very good camera. Lee's also said, he says, you're looking through a HDV camera, so 1080i transmitted through or out through HDMI, and I found a capture card that works for a tenner. Yes, now the capture card, for the ladies and gentlemen, is a little device which you plug in a HDMI cable into a USB or vice versa. So it just kind of transmits HDMI to USB. Really handy piece of kit to have, and it's quite convenient when you want to plug into your PC.
Works pretty well, as you can see.
Say again, Graham.
It works well, as people can see. The quality is just amazing.
It is.
I'm really chuffed.
It is.
I think I care more about the quality of my face than I do the sound, but yeah, it's all right.
Well, it's about the viewers, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, they don't want to watch us with grainy pictures, do they?
Yeah.
They want to see us in the fullest Ben&Grem Show form. Andrew says, I have seen the cheap capture cards, but
the whole point is
know too much about them. I think there's a slight delay on the internet connection there, Graham, on us. I do apologise. I feel like I'm talking over you a little bit there. I do apologise. He says it's a cheap capture cards, but I don't know much about them. Andrew, you're right. There are some cheap. I mean, Lee discovered that as well. I think he can say that there are cheap capture cards out there, and you probably don't need to spend £100 to £200 on a capture card. I mean, you've got your Elgato's and things like that, but I don't think it's overly necessary. Really, honestly, truthfully, I don't. But then, Lee, you might.
I mean, some of it also comes down to the quality of the lead that you're using as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. But Lee's one to talk on that one. I mean, Lee's quite clued up with that stuff, Lee, aren't you? Andrew says, yes, the picture and sound is excellent. Well, thank you very much, guys. And it's about time, really, isn't it? I mean, we have had, haven't we, a stream of issues with, a number of issues, haven't we, Graham, with quality, with sound.
Yes, yeah. It's been a lovely evening.
It has been. And for that reason, it's been pleasant because we've been able to have this conversation with you guys and it has been enjoyable from start to finish. Finish, be it now, if we don't.
Yes, it's, near enough of being unbreakable evening. It's been okay.
Has been. I agree.
Yeah.
So it's that time again from him and from me.
And from me and from him.
It's good night. And thank you for watching the Ben&Grem Show. It's Wednesday evening, the 19th of August. And as like always, it's been a pleasure. And we will see you again. Now, Graham, are we going to see these guys again next Sunday or next Monday? I think we're going to have to get back to you on that, guys, aren't we? Graham?
Yes, we do. We do need to have a discussion with regards to that because shifts have changed due to work patterns. So, yeah, I think it needs to be looked at. There will be a slight change to the style of the viewing days and how many of them, which will be explained in due course.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. Ben, thank you for, doing what you do. It's really appreciated.
It's been great.
And I'll speak to you after the end.
Very, very soon. Well, Andrew says bye. Thank you, Andrew. Lee Saul says goodbye. Just want to say something, actually, Graham. YNH, HDMI video capture card, 1080p. Brought this through Amazon. Can't get it to work on my Panasonic Limix G7. Yes, please let me know, Andrew says, when you're back on, and I don't mind when you are also, as long as I know when to tune in. That's very important, Andrew. Yes, you do need to know. We need some consistency, don't we, Graham, in when we start our streams. We have been
we'll make sure there's consistency, Ben.
Absolutely.
We just basically put the information on our Facebook page.
We'll keep you posted.
We direct people there.
Yeah.
Keep posted. So don't worry.
And it's a thank you from all of us.
We won't desert you.
Yes. Yes. And Andrew says thank you, by the way, Graham. No, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. Works great on the Sonys, though.
No worries, Andrew. Thank you, and I appreciate your time and effort in joining us.
Yeah. Thank you for watching the Ben&Grem Show, folks. Good night.
Yes, that's a thank you from me and a thank you from him. See you later, people. Thank you.
Good night.
Shh.
You.